I have just got myself a brand new Baofeng, Boofeng, whatever you call them. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this, the UV21. We're also going to be talking about the difference between PMR and CB radio. So in this video, we're going to take a look at this UV21. The usual caveat, I am absolutely no expert. If I say something that's wrong, please let me know in the comments. There's a frequency match on this, which I really like. So we'll take a look at some of the settings. Nothing too in-depth, because there's bits in the menu here that I've got no idea what they do. And then we'll have a look at my car setup. And then we'll have a bit of a chat about CB radio and PMR and which one might be right for you. All right, so this one is my current Baofeng, Boofeng. It's the UV9R Plus. It's been an absolutely brilliant radio, a phenomenal radio. It's waterproof, although I must admit I've never tried to submerge it, but it's certainly coped with a lot of heavy rain. It's dustproof. It's perfect for what I do. I'm out on farmlands an awful lot, so all of my equipment has to be able to deal with extremities of weather. So my UV9R still works. It's a great radio. I love it. But I've just got myself a new one, the UV21. It does look a lot more modern, doesn't it, than the UV9R. But the reason I've just picked this one up is because I want to have a PMR radio fixed in my car. I think it'll be really helpful for me when I'm doing those outdoor events to be able to have one clipped to my waist and one in the car, because with PMR, as soon as you sit inside a vehicle and you're obviously enclosing this radio in a metal shield, your range is severely affected. Now, one of the things I like about the Baofeng is it does allow you to listen but not transmit on airbands. So this one, 124.23 on AM, is Gatwick approach, and you do hear quite a lot of pilots on their way into Gatwick. In fact, I've just missed it for the video, but there was literally just a guy just a moment ago calling in on that frequency, so that's pretty cool. But it's these 446 frequencies that we will be concentrating on today. So 446 frequencies are the same frequencies that you will get on these little PMR radios that you can pick up in any general merchandise store in the UK. The difference is these are 0.5 watts, whereas these are a lot more powerful, and these also have removable antennas. And when PMR, height is might. The longer your antenna, the more luck and the further you're going to get and receive. Now, one thing I really like with this radio is this frequency match, because we'll quite often get it where people like me, you know, they're not radio experts, and you say to them, what channel are you on, what frequency are you on, and they don't know. What frequency match allows us to do is, if I search on this one and key up on this one, you see, it's now found that radio and the frequency that this Motorola is broadcasting on. Hello. Very handy indeed, and you can then save that if you want to your memory channels.
Confirmed.
So that is now saved in as channel 2 on my Baofeng. Very easy to do. So it's a great radio. It fits nicely on your hip. But as I say, this one's going to be being used in the car. So let's have a look at the very simple car setup that I've made. Now, you can buy dedicated PMR rigs to sit in your car. And again, some ham radios can also do the PMR frequencies. But this is all I'm going to do. I've got a tiny little PMR aerial on top of the car. I've already got that whacking great CB aerial. I didn't want to have 2 CB aerials. And then what I'm doing is I'm using the cradle, the charging cradle, not connected to a plug. I'm using the charging cradle on the dashboard to hold the radio in. And then I can then use the USB-C point to actually charge it. and that's going to work really well. That's going to be really rugged. It's not going to fall off the dash. It's going to do its job, and it means it keeps that aerial outside of the car. You know, when I'm on events, say, because being inside the car really does hammer the range that you get. You end up having to, you know, open the window and stick your head out the window to talk to the chaps in the field, so not ideal. And much like the CB radio, the little aerial, it said it was a mag mount, but I've had to use a waterproof sticky fixer on that because it came off. But it's only £8. The aerial sits on the roof of the car, and then a little wire just comes through the door frame. What we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this antenna, and we're going to wind in the connection for the little antenna on the roof. That's a female connection there, should fit no problem. So there we go, absolutely no problem there. So we'll get that back in the cradle. That's it, perfect. So we've now got a mobile PMR setup in the car. You can also buy a PTT mic that fits into this side if you wanted to be able to use it more like, you know, more like a traditional mobile radio. But for me, you know, I'll just pull it out of the cradle when I want to talk. You know, I'm only going to use this on private land, so I don't need to worry about the legality of holding it whilst driving. But yeah, I think that's done the job. What a simple solution for getting PMR in the Land Rover. That then brings us on to PMR and CB radio, and again, I am absolutely no expert. So my CB radio is actually an amateur radio that can broadcast on 27 megahertz, so it can access and receive and broadcast on those CB radio frequencies. But even if you had a traditional 4-watt CB radio, that's still going to get you further from inside a vehicle than these PMR units will. And again, some will disagree, but we've done a fair amount of testing, and CB radio always seems to win out over PMR, mobile to mobile or base station to base station. The disadvantages of CB radio is CB needs a long aerial, needs a really long aerial in order to work. You can't have a little stubby radio with a CB radio, and if you do have a stubby radio, you'd be better off with PMR. CB, to get the most out of it, you need that big antenna. With CB we also have SWR, SWR to contend with, which I think is standing wave ratio, or is it standard wave ratio? No, it's standing wave ratio, I'm sure it is. But anyway, that essentially, again, in layman's term, one of the problems you can have with CB radio is if you don't have your SWR right, if that SWR is not right, some of that power that you're pushing out when you key up, that you're pushing out of your radio, it doesn't go up the antenna and out of your radio, it backs up into your radio. And obviously that means, one, your signal doesn't get as far as you would like, and secondly, it can make your radio go bang. If you do it too much, you can burn your radio out. So with CB you have SWR to think about, and you need those big aerials. With PMR, there's none of that faffing about. You kind of can't get it wrong. You just take it out of the box, turn it on, and you're ready to go. Mobile to mobile, or certainly base station to base station, CB radio, you are going to get far more distance. I can get 10 to 15 miles in a built-up environment on my CB radio, absolutely no problem, from my base station. In mobile, again, depending where I am, that could be anything from 2 to 3 miles to 25 to 30 miles if you've got two people standing on the top of a hill. We've never got that type of range out of PMR. And also with CB radio, of course, if the skip is in, and again, layman's terms, but essentially that's where your signal is shot out of your antenna up into the ionosphere and it reflects back down somewhere. Sometimes there's no skip at all. Sometimes the skip's brilliant, and the skip has enabled me to speak to people in Ireland, Scotland, Istanbul, from the UK. I've got Wales on multiple occasions on the skip, and I've never had it, but apparently you can also hit the eastern United States as well, although as I say, that's not happened to me as yet. You're not going to get any of that on PMR. However, if you're talking about keeping in touch with friends, family around a local area, or for me, organising an outdoor event which will have anything from 25 to 75, 80 blokes coming along, PMR is the way to go. So should you go for CB radio? Should you go for PMR? I mean, I like to have both, to be perfectly honest. You know, the other advantage CB radio has is it's got decades of kind of tradition behind it. CB radio is about meeting and talking to people that you do not necessarily know. PMR, not so much so. CB radio, you've got the calling channels 14, 19. That's known around the world, that they are the channels that you would use for making contacts. Again, with PMR, not so much so. There is a movement more recently around PMR, I've noticed, of people using channel 14 on PMR as a bit of a calling channel, and there's some good PMR nets up on Facebook. I think the PMR stuff is getting better and better all the time. Look at those Baofangs. But at the moment, CB radio is still my favourite. But on a Sunday in the fields, PMR all the way. So we're heading off now, out the farm. I've just been up here today checking the land for tomorrow's dig. So there's a lot of new subscribers come onto this channel since I started doing the CB radio stuff. So thank you very much. Just stick around for the metal detecting as well. Metal detecting is a fantastic hobby, and it puts me in an environment every week where radios are really, really handy, really, really useful tools. So I'm in a really unique situation, I think, to be able to test these radios in different locations on a weekly basis, more like a daily basis, in all honesty, most days. So thanks very much to all those new subscribers out there, and for those of you that have been sub for a long time watching the metal detecting content, it's still there. There's no need to unsub. The metal detecting is and will always be